Be unshaken. That is the rarest form of strength in a century addicted to reaction. While the world drowns in noise, every opinion screamed, every emotion displayed like a badge, true power lives in restraint. It lives in the man who moves slowly, speaks little, and reveals nothing before he must. This is the misunderstood art of composure. It is not indifference, it is control. The man who does not chase, who does not flinch, who refuses to show his hunger, he is not cold, he is free. The restless mistake his stillness for arrogance, but stillness is the mark of a ruler. It is the signal of one who commands himself before commanding others. Emerson wrote that the wise man is the one who stands firm amid the rush of things. That is nonchalance, not the absence of care, but the mastery of care. It is the discipline to choose what deserves your energy, and to let the rest pass through you like wind through the branches of a pine. The tree bends, but it never bows. Appearances, Emerson knew, are weapons. The crowd reveals its weakness by the noise it makes. The composed man hides his power in silence. Once your need is seen, it can be used against you. But when your eyes betray nothing, when your words fall like measured stones, when your expression is calm even in storm, you become untouchable. No one can manipulate what they cannot read. The nonchalant man does not rush to fill the air. He does not chase meaning through motion. He watches. He listens. He moves only when the strike is sure. While others react to rumor and impulse, he waits like a hawk above the field, silent, patient, precise. It is not passivity. It is purpose disguised as stillness. There is power in becoming the question that haunts others. Why doesn't he react? Why doesn't he chase? Why doesn't he care? Their confusion becomes your leverage. Their curiosity, your control. The moment you stop reacting, the moment you stop reaching, the world begins to reach for you. The mysterious always rules the visible. Men are drawn to what they cannot define. When you are unreadable, you are feared and desired in equal measure. When you withhold your reaction, you force others to reveal theirs. You govern not by demand, but by gravity. This is why nonchalance, though mistaken for disinterest, is actually dominance refined. It is emotional warfare fought with calm breath and level gaze. The one who seems to need nothing holds everything, for the world is filled with people desperate to fill silence. If you can stay still while others scramble to decode you, you've already won. Understand this: what you appear to lack, others will rush to provide. What you appear not to want, they will try to give. Your composure creates pursuit. Your calm creates authority. Your restraint becomes magnetic. But this calm is not born. It is trained. The nonchalant man has taught himself delay, silence, and observation. He has burned away the weakness of immediacy. He acts from clarity, never from impulse. He does not mistake movement for progress or emotion for truth. When he finally moves, the world feels it. You cannot beg for respect and expect to receive it. You cannot plead for attention and keep your dignity. Respect is given to those who do not need it to survive. Attention is drawn to those who appear whole without it. The man who appears to care least often cares most, but only for what truly matters. He spends emotion like gold, rarely precisely with intent. The crowd confuses volume for power. But in truth, power whispers. The man who is still while the room trembles holds command. The man who can smile when insulted, pause when provoked, and think when others react. He is already ahead. For control begins where reaction ends. Nonchalance is not the armor of apathy. It is the art of presence. It is feeling deeply but showing nothing. It is standing amid noise and refusing to echo it. It is holding the upper hand while pretending not to notice you have it. This is self-government, the crown worn by those who rule themselves before ruling men. You dictate the emotional climate by what you do not reveal. When your expression is unreadable, when your tone remains calm, others must guess at your thoughts. They must adjust their tone, measure their words, question their certainty. You become their mirror, their test, their tension. They play your game believing it's theirs. until they discover they've been reacting to your silence all along. That is mastery, when presence itself becomes influence. The one who appears to need nothing commands everything. The world feeds the man who hungers without showing it, because his calm hints at something infinite, a mind beyond manipulation, a soul too deep to grasp. That is what people worship in silence, the mystery of power contained. So train your calm, guard your composure. Teach yourself to pause before you speak, to breathe before you move, to observe before you judge. This restraint is your advantage. Each moment you refuse to reveal your emotion, you store energy others waste. And energy stored is power waiting. Nonchalance does not make you cold. It makes you measured. It is the ability to hold emotion without letting it spill. The patience to wait until timing becomes destiny. When others reveal their hands, you keep yours closed. And in that concealment lies command. The world rewards those who are hard to read because people project their desires onto mystery. They will imagine greatness where they cannot see weakness. Let them. Do not rush to correct or explain. Do not justify. Do not plead. Simply stand. Your silence will do what 1,000 explanations cannot. It will make them wonder. True composure is not arrogance. It is clarity. The man who sees clearly does not react. He calculates. He has already made peace with what can be controlled and released what cannot. His silence is not emptiness. It is alignment. His calm is not apathy. It is readiness. You cannot shake a man who has already faced himself. The storms outside him are only echoes of winds he has already survived within. Most people are loud because they are uncertain. They rush to prove, to explain, to justify. They mistake motion for meaning. But the man who has nothing to prove, nothing to defend, nothing to chase, he moves differently. He stands as if he belongs, not because the room has given him permission, but because his spirit already decided he does. He does not look around for approval. He does not perform confidence. He lives it. This composure unsettles the insecure. They sense something they cannot control, a peace that exposes their own turbulence. In a frantic world, calmness becomes confrontation. The still man is not passive. He is provocative without effort. For when everyone else is reacting, the one who does not becomes the standard. He is the still point around which the noise begins to orbit. Emerson wrote, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within us." This inner steadiness is what the world mistakes for detachment. It is not the rejection of emotion, it is the refinement of it. Emotion ungoverned becomes weakness. Emotion mastered becomes strategy. The nonchalant man is a strategist of energy. He understands that every reaction, every word, every movement is a transaction of power. So he spends with precision. He does not reveal himself cheaply. He does not exhaust his strength proving it exists. His value grows in proportion to his restraint. When he speaks, it means something. When he acts, it changes something. When he withholds, it creates tension that others rush to resolve. His silence becomes the loudest voice in the room. Perception shapes reality. If they believe you are calm, you are calm. If they believe you are strong, you are strong. Power begins with appearance and ends with consistency. The world follows those who appear unshaken, not because it understands them, but because it needs them. In a sea of frantic men drowning in their own noise, the one who stands still becomes the shore. Nonchalance, when true, is not built on pride. It is built on mastery, mastery of timing, of tone, of self. The ability to feel deeply without reacting publicly, to think sharply while appearing relaxed. That is the mark of internal discipline. It's not about being unmoved. It is about being unprovoked. Remember this, people chase what withdraws. They obsess over what ignores them. They respect what does not beg. The man who holds back becomes a mirror for others' insecurities. They project meaning into his stillness, importance into his distance. The less you reveal, the more they imagine. The less you pursue, the more they pursue you. The less you speak, the more your silence is analyzed. This is the paradox of power, the gravity of mystery. but understand the difference between emptiness and composure. The nonchalant man is not numb. He feels everything but expresses little. He filters emotion through thought, not through impulse. He knows that restraint is not weakness. It is weaponized patience. In conversation, he listens more than he speaks. In conflict, he waits more than he fights. In desire, he observes before he moves. Every gesture, every silence, every glance is intentional. People will call him cold because they cannot categorize him. They will call him detached because they cannot decode him. But this misunderstanding is part of his advantage. A man who cannot be easily labeled cannot be easily controlled. Reaction is the language of the untrained. Response is the dialect of the strong. The nonchalant man has learned to respond, to act from reason, not reflex. Each time he resists the urge to prove, he grows stronger. Each time he remains silent amid provocation, he deepens his power. The weak explode outward. The strong implode inward. They absorb energy, transform it, and return it only when it serves them. To be nonchalant is to have burned through the need to be understood. You no longer perform your calm. You embody it. You no longer seek validation. You generate it. And in that stillness, others start to bend toward you like metal drawn to a magnet they cannot name. This does not make you unkind. It makes you measured. The nonchalant man can love deeply, but he does not cling. He can care immensely, but he does not chase. He can give generously, but never desperately. His relationships are rooted in strength, not dependency. He does not seek to possess. He seeks to complement. His love is not a plea, it is a presence, and that presence becomes addictive. For in a world where everyone begs to be seen, the one who does not beg becomes unforgettable. When you learn to detach from outcome, you rise above manipulation. People cannot control a man who does not fear loss. The world only has power over those who fear being forgotten. The nonchalant man fears nothing but the loss of his composure. Even in battle, he is measured. When insulted, he observes. When doubted, he smiles. When challenged, he considers before he strikes. Because he knows that anger reveals strategy, and silence conceals it. The calm mind always wins because it can see clearly when others are blinded by emotion. You cannot hit what you cannot read. You cannot defeat what refuses to play by your tempo. The nonchalant man slows down the pace of every encounter. His stillness forces others into reflection. His lack of urgency becomes dominance. Emerson wrote, "Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of principles." This is that triumph, the victory of discipline over impulse, of inner command over outer chaos. When the world provokes you, understand that silence is not surrender. It is strategy. The pause is not weakness. It is wisdom. Reaction costs power. Response multiplies it. Every time you choose not to react, you have won a war invisible to others. To be nonchalant is to live at a slower frequency than the crowd. It is to move when others stumble. It is to see when others blink. It is to hear beyond words. That is how kings are made, not in noise but in stillness. So do not rush to fill silence. Let it breathe. Let others reveal themselves in their need to be heard. Let them show their hunger while you conceal yours. You will see who is desperate, who is disciplined, who is dangerous. The man who owns his silence owns every conversation. And understand this, your composure is contagious. When you enter a room grounded, you stabilize others. When you speak little, others begin to measure their words. When you refuse to be provoked, you teach others restraint. You lead not through command, but through calm example. Real leadership is quiet. It is not about proving dominance. It is about radiating certainty. That is the heart of nonchalance, the quiet certainty that you are enough, regardless of the noise around you. This is not learned in luxury, but in solitude. It is born in nights of discipline, in battles with impulse, in the long work of becoming your own anchor. The world will test it constantly, through insult, rejection, temptation. But each time you hold your peace, you build the kind of strength no enemy can measure. Be the man who does not blink first. Be the one whose calm unsettles the room. Be the one who watches chaos pass by as if it were weather, temporary beneath you, irrelevant to your purpose, because power, true power, is not about control over others. It is mastery of self. You must learn to sit with tension, to live inside it without breaking, because the world will test your calm. It will insult you to provoke a reaction. It will misunderstand you to force an explanation. It will tempt you to chase what was never yours to begin with. But remember, the test is never about what happens. It is about what moves you. Anyone can appear powerful when admired. The true measure is how you stand when ignored, challenged, or disrespected. The man who remains still through chaos has already won, for chaos cannot touch what does not respond. Do not fear being misunderstood. Mystery is stronger than explanation. The moment you explain yourself, you hand away your power. The moment you reveal your thoughts too early, you let others script your next move. Keep your mind your own. Speak when your silence would be mistaken for weakness. And even then, speak less than they expect. This is not performance. It is principle. You are not pretending to be above the noise. You are simply not controlled by it. There is a reason leaders speak last. There is a reason true kings walk slowly. They are not searching for words. They are choosing when to use them. Reaction is the servant's reflex. Response is the ruler's rhythm. When you learn to live by response, not reaction, you move through life like water through stone, silent, shaping, unstoppable. Your calm becomes architecture. Your restraint becomes law. Even your enemies begin to mirror your stillness, for silence commands more than argument ever could. A calm man becomes a mirror in which others see their own chaos. That reflection unsettles them. They will call you distant, cold, unfeeling. Let them. Their confusion is the sound of your control. When you no longer need to prove, you no longer need to react. And when you no longer react, you no longer bleed energy where it is not earned. The world will offer you countless invitations to lower yourself. Debates that don't deserve answers, critics that don't deserve attention, battles that don't deserve your presence. Decline them all with quiet grace, for silence is not retreat. It is elevation. Be the one who withholds when others overshare, who observes when others perform, who waits while others waste. Every moment you hold your composure while others lose theirs, you rise a level higher in the invisible hierarchy of power. People may call it coldness, but it is mastery, emotional sovereignty, the strength to feel everything and show nothing until the right moment. That is what separates the controlled from the consumed. You do not owe the world your reaction. You owe yourself your peace. The man who controls his inner temperature commands the climate around him. When you can walk through insult, temptation, rejection, and remain centered, you have discovered the essence of freedom. That is what Emerson meant when he said, "Nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind." Integrity of mind means your emotions answer to you, not to the world. You are not a puppet of circumstance. You are the conductor of it. Understand this. Power is quiet. Real power moves without announcement. It does not seek validation. It generates it. The moment you chase recognition, you reveal a weakness. But when you move as if recognition were irrelevant, the world adjusts around your rhythm. You do not need to perform control. You embody it. And yet, true nonchalance is not cold-blooded. It is the calm of a man who has already burned through his chaos. The calm of one who has seen storms come and go, yet still stands unmoved. It is forged, not faked. The greatest strength is not domination. It is restraint. Not conquest, but composure. Because the man who can sit quietly while the world spins in confusion holds the axis in his hands. You become the eye of the storm, still, centered, decisive. While others whirl in their own noise, you remain the gravity they circle around. Do not confuse stillness with inaction. The mountain does not chase the wind, but it shapes its flow. You too must shape life through steadiness. Speak less, move slower, think deeper. The result will not be applause. It will be respect. and respect lasts longer than attention. In every room there will be noise, arguments, performances, the scramble to be seen. But there will also be one man who sits back, silent, calm, untouched by the frenzy. His very presence becomes a question no one can answer. His silence speaks louder than 100 raised voices. That man owns the room. Be that man. You will know you are mastering yourself when silence begins to feel powerful, not empty. When patience feels like movement. When waiting feels like control. At that moment, you no longer play the game, you define it. In relationships, this composure transforms everything. It is not detachment from love. It is clarity within it. To love without losing yourself, to care without collapsing, to give without begging. That is emotional maturity, the kind that commands respect even in intimacy. Do not let the world convince you that emotion must always be displayed to be real. True emotion is measured by its endurance, not its volume. The nonchalant man feels deeply but reveals wisely. He knows his energy is sacred, that every reaction is an offering. And he does not offer to those who have not earned it. This is the quiet code of self-respect. Never react to prove something. Never speak to fill silence. Never chase what moves away. Because when you no longer chase, you draw things toward you. The world gravitates toward those who are not desperate to belong. Let others scramble for relevance. You build permanence. Each time you delay response, you exercise control. Each time you withhold emotion, you refine focus. Each time you hold your silence while others lose theirs, you become the most powerful presence in the room. This is the essence of nonchalance, the art of appearing to care less because you have learned to care right. You are not moved by every insult, nor flattered by every compliment. You walk through praise and criticism alike, unmoved, because you are no longer defined by external noise. The loud fade first, the still endure. In this quiet state, your life becomes deliberate. Your words gain gravity. Your movements draw attention because they are rare. Your absence becomes felt because your energy cannot be replaced. And one day, when people wonder how you command, respect without trying, how you attract without chasing, how you dominate without raising your voice, you will know the answer. You became the calm they could not find in themselves. This is the summit of Emerson's philosophy. Self-reliance refined into silence. The understanding that you do not need to react to control the narrative. That you do not need to shout to be heard. That you do not need to prove what is already evident in your composure. The man who commands himself commands all. So be nonchalant, not as an act of arrogance, but as the posture of mastery. Let your silence be your strategy. Let your calm be your crown. Let your restraint be your roar. You are not less emotional. You are more disciplined. You are not indifferent. You are invincible. And that quiet power, that stillness that bends noise into silence, is what the world will remember long after the loud ones fade, because in the end, it is not the storm that endures. It is the mountain